the love that took time. Ethan and Lily had been best friends since high school, the kind of friends who knew each other's favorite songs, secret fears, and the exact way the other smiled when they were trying not to cry. They met on the first day of 10th grade. She was the new girl with messy hair and a nervous laugh. He was the quiet boy with a guitar case and a shy smile. When she dropped her books in the hallway, he was the only one who knelt to help her pick them up. From that moment, something invisible but certain began to grow between them. They did everything together: late-night phone calls, weekend walks to the lake, helping each other study, making silly songs no one else would ever hear. But as the years went by, Ethan's laughter started to hide something deeper. He had fallen in love with his best friend, and Lily, sweet and full of dreams, never noticed. She talked about other boys, sometimes asking him for advice, sometimes crying when they hurt her, and he would listen, even when it broke him inside. He became her comfort, her constant, her safe person. One evening, sitting by the lake, Lily said, "You know, Ethan, I don't think I'll ever find someone who really understands me." He smiled softly, looking at the water instead of her. "Maybe you already have," he said. But she didn't hear the tremor in his voice. She just laughed, leaned her head on his shoulder, and said, "You're the best, Ethan. I don't know what I'd do without you." He wanted to tell her then how he'd memorized her favorite shade of sky, how every song he wrote was secretly about her, but he didn't, because he was afraid. Afraid that the truth would ruin the one thing he couldn't bear to lose: her friendship. Years passed. They went to different universities but stayed close. He became a songwriter, quietly successful. She became a teacher, just as she'd always dreamed. But when he saw her name pop up on his phone, his heart still raced the same way it had when they were 17. Then one day, she told him she was getting married. Ethan congratulated her, smiled, and even agreed to play at her wedding. But that night, alone in his small apartment, he wrote a song, one he would never let anyone hear. A song about a boy who loved a girl so much, he turned his love into silence. When the wedding day came, Lily looked radiant, glowing with the kind of joy he'd always wanted her to have. Ethan sang a happy song for her and her husband, smiled for the photos, and went home with an aching heart. Time passed. Lily's marriage didn't last. Life, as it often does, unravelled what once seemed perfect. A few years later, she moved back to their hometown, quieter, wiser, and a little lonelier. One evening, she saw Ethan again at a small cafe by the lake. He was playing his guitar, lost in his music. When she heard his voice, something stirred inside her. It wasn't just nostalgia, it was recognition. She finally heard what she had been deaf to all those years: love. After his set, she approached him with teary eyes. "Ethan," she whispered, "was that song about me?" He looked at her for a long time, then smiled gently. "All of them were." And this time she didn't laugh or look away. She took his hand, the same hand that had held her up so many times before, and said softly, "Then maybe it's time I finally listened." That night, as they walked by the same lake where they'd once dreamed about the future, Ethan played her the song he had written years ago, the one she had never heard. The stars reflected in the water. Her hand slipped into his, and for the first time, silence between them wasn't heavy with things unsaid. It was peaceful, full, and right. One-sided love, after all those years, had finally found its way home.